We'll call the meeting of the regular board meeting of the Charles City Board of Education to order and have roll call attendance, please.
Walker.
Here.
Dyke.
Here.
Freund.
Here.
Mack absent. Maycumber.
Here.
Connect absent.
And a reading of the district mission statement by Director Freund.
Our mission is to engage, inspire, and empower students and staff in order to maximize learning.
Thank you. Agenda item 3 is approval of the agenda. Any additions or corrections?
Yeah, number 7 will be tabled. Mrs. Butcher has a couple of wakes tonight. And number 10, there's just no action, so we don't need to take action on that either.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment.
I'll second.
Motion is second to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 4 is to welcome the visitors and to take public comment. Tonight will be the first night that we enact the new policy and procedure for public comment. If you wish to make comment, I recommend that you familiarize yourself with those. The primary changes, you will be allowed 3 minutes for comment, which is a nice bonus from the previous 2 minutes. And you don't have to wait for a specific agenda item to make comment. If you would like to make comment on a specific agenda item, you may do so now. But now would also be the time to make comment on anything that does not appear on the agenda. Is there anyone that would like to wish to make public comment tonight? And I'll remind you that the time will be kept on my phone, and when it expires, there will be an alarm. Anybody? Josh?
Yeah.
Please identify yourself.
Josh Johnson, high school principal. Just wanted to give a quick thank you to, you guys may have known that I've been in San Diego last week at the Marine Corps Educators Workshop. I'm going to present later at a later board meeting the full details, but I've been blessed to go on a lot of different educational experiences. We went out to San Diego for High Tech High last year. I have to say this was the best educational experience I've ever had, and I don't think anything's even close. Being around that elite of an organization and soaking in how they do business and those types of things, and just bringing back the knowledge of how they operate and what they can do for our kids and just how to function a little bit healthier and tighter and how we align to our core values. Talk to anybody that'll listen today about the experience, and so I'm going to be presenting a little bit further here down the road, but I just wanted to say thanks for the support to do that. I know leaving for a week, it was a tough decision personally, but this is something I've wanted to do for 13 years, so to be able to do that and bring back that knowledge here is pretty exciting, so thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Look forward to hearing it.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Larry Wolf, Charles City High School Assistant Principal. I just want to give a shout out to Katie Corbel over there and the UNI students that are here at our board meeting tonight. So for people that didn't know who they were.
Awesome. Thank you. Absolutely welcome them. Anything further? Okay, we will move on to agenda item 5, comments by board members and the superintendent. Dr. Cox.
All right, first off, congratulations to our Comet bowling teams and Coach Doug Boland. The boys and the girls both were state runners-up last week in Class 1A. Congratulations to our Comet wrestlers. John Korish was 7th place, Jack Sendlinger 8th place at the state meet. Congratulations to our speech students. We had 15 of 21 who qualified on Saturday to move on to perform at the state contest, received Division I ratings. And we are meeting tonight early because our boys basketball team is playing Waverly Shell Rock. Tonight, 7 o'clock in Denver, winner advances to the state tournament. Certainly want to wish them well also.
Thank you. Anything from board members?
I just wanted to say last Thursday I was able to come and watch the 5th graders give their entrepreneurship presentations that they had done, and I was very impressed with them and thought that they all did a great job, and just wanted to share that. So my daughter included, she had a great time, and they really, really enjoyed that that project. So
Awesome.
Attended the Dollars for Scholars fundraiser banquet. Excellent. It was a really fun night. I think it was a great turnout. Shout out to the Windows for all their extra work in the Dollars for Scholar group, and Comet Cafe, Culinary Arts Program, for their work on that too.
Anything, Scott?
No, I've just been working, so.
We'll will move right into agenda item 6 then, the Project Rise presentation.
All right, I'm Dan Caffrey, Juvenile Court Liaison. I work with a lot of at-risk kids here in Charles City. I've been here a couple times already talking about the Project Rise program initiative that we have going on. I was finally able to get some of my student leaders here to talk to you guys about that, like I've been saying I was going to. One of them is in Florida, actually right now on a trip, so she can't be here. She sent a message of support to us. So she's not here, but I've got Caden Cormany and Katie Garcia here with me. We're going to talk through some stuff. So Project Rise is basically a student-led organization, and these two student leaders are here to talk to you about that. Our mission and vision aligns with the Charles City mission and vision. Obviously, we want to build respect, integrity, strength, and empowerment with all students, so especially with the at-risk kids that we work with in the middle school and the high school. And our vision is to provide real-world learning opportunities, leadership opportunities for students that may not get that in other aspects of their schooling career. So Caden and Katie are going to talk a little bit more about what we do, what Project Rise is, as we go forward.
Okay, my name is Caden Cormany, as you guys all heard, and to start off with my backstory, I came from Chipola here in Iowa, and I went there from elementary on up to middle school. I didn't succeed there very well at all. And then I moved here my freshman year, and I started to succeed, started to do things right, and as I progressed, I started, and I met Dan Caffrey, and we started this program. Keep going. And to talk about Flapjack Fridays, it's this thing we do every Friday where we bring in kids in the morning so that way they can have some pancakes and spend some time with us. Dan Cox, Dr. Dan Cox has been there before with us before. And I'd like to invite all of you to come this Friday. We're having one at 7:45 in Mr. Dean's room. So it'd be nice of you all to come. Keep going.
I'm Katie Garcia, as you all heard. I'm kind of the person that tells everyone where to go, make sure everyone's meeting with their mentee as we send our high schoolers, and I kind of check in, see how they're going, how the relationship building and the academic building is going, make sure that they're a right match and they have a right fit, make sure they're all progressing. This program is work to help both of them, not just the students in middle school, help them succeed academically, but this is just a big step on making that transition from middle school to high school even more easier than what it seems to be.
Okay. My name's Caden. I was kind of the founder. I create and I make documents. I've made forms before, like the surveys that we've had to send out to students. And Kelby, I always go to Kelby whenever I have an idea, just because she's really level-headed and she knows how to manage us well. So whenever I have an idea, if I want to make a form or do something, I bring it to Kelby before I bring it to Caffrey. And we build relationships, a lot of relationships between teachers, students, everyone. To talk about recruiting, we have teachers that they often say, hey, so-and-so is a really good student. Maybe they should go and be a tutor or a mentor. That's about that for the, yeah.
So just this program is kind of, I don't want to say it's a big brother, big sister program, but it's basically building relationships where they can take it farther, coming out of school type activities, maybe even meeting up with the Y, maybe even Snapchat, as people say, get a streak or something. But this program is just to change the lives of people that don't have it all there. This is to fill that gap where they don't have it. So this is basically changing people's lives one step at a time. And then just like with Sienna Sonberg, as an example, we had a student that had terrible attendance, just didn't really have a motivation to come to school. And this story has progressed her to coming to school almost every day. So that's pretty amazing.
Okay. So for the mentors, we expect the mentors to meet at least once a week with their students and to spend time with them, whether it be lunch or just the times that they have open. And they have to, every time they meet, they fill out a form. We would have brought them in a packet, but we didn't have enough time to really get those going. They have to have a positive attitude. They have to show that they're willing to cooperate with the child, and the middle schooler has to cooperate as well. And then there's a tutor-mentor agreement form that we hand out whenever we match between the students, because we want the students to see that there's high schoolers that are willing to fill out this agreement and do the things that they do.
To talk about a referral of our middle school students, we work with kids in all different areas and aspects. So we want to fill the deficits in the middle school where they can feel more comfortable coming to school as who they really are and having them open up to more students and just being able to be themselves around everyone, not just in school, also outside of school. So this kind of also works in with Miss Julie Molsted's Success Center kids and Carlene Sickman's kids. They go there for more support, kind of more direction when doing their assignments for school, and this is just an extra push to help them be successful.
Oh, are you talking about? Okay. So we have a few kids that come in for high egos because they kind of see themselves as on a high horse and sometimes they need to be knocked down. Brittany Molsted and Carlene Sickman go into team meetings that they have in the mornings, and they recommend kids from those meetings if something bad happened or something goes on. We never find out about the situations, obviously, but they recommend kids to us. And the referral of high school students, I talked about this already, yeah? Yeah, okay. This is you.
All right, so as we go forward with Project Rise, we're looking at a lot of different things. I have these guys going down to the Iowa State Alternative Eds Conference on April 5th, and they're one of the breakout sessions. So they have 45 minutes to an hour block of time to talk to all of the people that are there if they choose to come listen to these kids. Josh Dean is on that committee. He's telling me to expect about 30 to 60 people to come listen to these guys. So that's going to be pretty awesome. They've been working with Mr. Johnson on getting a credit for these high school kids that are doing the mentoring, to try to give them a incentive to do it every single week, to put the time in, to do all the work that it entails. I mean, they're donating their time every single week to help another student at the middle school level. So that's a nice way to reward them as long as they're doing all the things that we're going to require them to do. That'd be a pretty awesome thing. The next thing we have coming up, hopefully this spring, is a Leadership Academy initiative with some of the business people in town. I've sent a letter out to 73 people in town, male and female. About half of them got back to me and said that they're really interested in helping out. I've been working hand in hand with Bob Cloberdance on that deal. We're looking at providing these high school mentors with some leadership opportunities. A lot of these high school mentors that we have come from homes where they don't have positive adult figures in their life. So if we can get them together with these adults in the community, whether they're business owners or truck drivers or whatever, get them together with them and just have a conversation, have them learn how to have a business meeting, have them learn how to have just a conversation person to person rather than through texting or email, something like that. So that's a lot of the business people in town are saying that's a lacking thing that we don't have. So Bob's super excited, and if you guys know Bob Cloberdance, he's all jacked up. So that's coming up this spring, and hopefully that turns into something cool as we move forward. I'm also working with Mr. DeVore on getting a website put together for the Success Center so that other schools can look at that as a resource. We've had many schools come and talk to us, email us, use some of the stuff that we have as Success Center and with Project Rise to take back to their schools. So we're looking at something that can be a positive thing for other schools to use as we move forward.
Should we talk about videos? Okay. So about last week, I took the initiative to get the emails of staff from other schools, and hopefully we plan on sending out sort of an email letter to these schools to ask to present there, because there are lots of schools in northeast Iowa, yeah, I believe, that could use the help that we provide, and there's a lot of students that need help out there, and we don't want to leave them to be alone.
Yeah, so that's all we have. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot them at us. As Caden said, we're having Flapjack Friday on Friday over in Mr. Dean's room, Hawaiian theme. So if you guys want to,
Hawaiian theme.
grass skirts and wine shirts, come on over to that. Student teachers, if you guys are in Charles City, make sure you guys come to that. It's a pretty awesome thing. So, you guys have any questions on anything?
What do you guys have?
Myself or the kids, I guess.
Comments?
Did you mention how many students are involved? How many mentors do you have, and then how many other students are engaged?
That's a pretty insane number, but I gotta think think about it.
I've got 73 high school mentor kids on the list. We've got about 40 that are matched up, and we're looking at about 30 to 35 of them that are meeting regularly. So it's
Very,
pretty awesome.
wow.
Awesome.
That's much bigger, a larger number than what I anticipated.
Yeah, when we started it last spring, we had 12 or 13.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it's grown quite a bit.
Wow, leaps and bounds. That's excellent. How exciting.
Is that just high school or middle school, high school?
That's just high school students working with middle school
With
students.
middle school.
Yep.
For the students, do you see some of the middle schoolers and that you work with?
I still do.
I personally, I still work. Oh, sorry. I still work with about 2 or 3 students that from last year. I worked with them to help them out a little bit, and that's when we were just starting. Now we have lots of things to manage, but I still see them in and around the hallways. They still come in and talk to us, and it's pretty good. And right now we're kind of looking at one of the 8th graders that I've worked with for quite some time, maybe becoming a freshman leader next year. So,
That was going to be my next question. Do you see the people that you're working with, the kids
Yes.
you're working with, do they want to fill your shoes?
yes, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, for those middle school students, is there anything that has been sent home to let parents know that this is available? If maybe there's something going on at home that maybe teachers aren't aware of, and that way the parents can reach out and say, hey, I think maybe my child would be good for this program?
Yeah, we haven't officially sent anything home.
Okay.
Teachers have, when they've talked with students, parents, they've mentioned us.
Okay.
I've probably got close to 10 referrals based on just parents getting a hold of me email-wise, seeing me in town, stuff like that. They're like, hey, my kid would be awesome, would be really interested in this. So no, there's been no official letter sent home or anything like
Okay.
that.
Sounds like what you're doing is great. Applaud you for all of the time and effort and energy you put into it, and I'm sure you'll continue to be successful, and it helps all of our students with the work you're doing, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just echo all those comments. I mean, these are the programs these presentations are the highlight of sitting behind the table here. You know, we get to see, I tell people that we get to see things that go on in our buildings that the general public doesn't get to see. And the fact that you spend the time and commit the time to come and present that to us means a lot. So we greatly express our appreciation for that. I always tell everyone that stands in front of that microphone that you're not just presenting to us, because the camera here, replays this on the local access channel. And you'd be shocked at how many people in the community approach me out there and say, hey, I saw this presentation. I had no idea that goes on in our buildings or in our district, and they're just wowed by it. So today, there might have been, you go out and you survey 8, 9, 10 people in the community, and very few of them would maybe have heard about this. But I guarantee you've reached a lot more with them now, and these are the kinds of programs that our community needs to know are going on. So we greatly thank you for your participation in it and making it successful. So
And
thanks,
we-
Dano.
We thank you for the time to be able to come up here and present. It's really nice. It may seem kind of sort of a small thing, but we
No,
really
it's
love
not.
it. We worked on it
It's
a lot.
not.
You're-
So
you're-
don't think that. Yeah.
You're what I try to explain to people, what we've learned from going to other conferences and meeting other states and talking to people, that we not only graduate students with an education, we graduate students that are well-rounded. And that's what you're doing. You're learning things that can't be learned from a book.
Definitely.
The quality of life that you've given someone else and yourself by helping somebody. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Agenda item 7 was tabled. We'll move on to agenda item 8, the high school modernization plan.
So I'll have Justin bring up the plan. Did you see my text? In a minute, Justin will bring up the plan.
Should have called it on someone's computer.
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago, Linda got up and shared some comments with the board, and I'd like to just point out a few things that she had noted as soon as we have that design up. So when you do have it up, if you could go to the fine arts page, should be like page 2. in the interim, I know that we've got a couple of staff who are going to potentially want to make some comments, and they have laid some comments here for each of the board members as well. I will share with or remind the public that the drama department, the fine arts staff, we have taken trips specifically, all piled into a Suburban, and gone to Western Dubuque High School in Epworth, where we looked at their fine arts facility that opened a couple of years ago. The stage that you'll see up on the screen here shortly is the stage size from Western Dubuque, and that's what the fine arts staff wanted. We also went on to Geneseo, Illinois, to look at their two performances areas. They have a concert hall that opened up, I believe, this month, potentially last month. We were there in late fall in its final stages. We also saw their renovated auditorium space, which had been shrunk down so that they had one place just for concerts and one for drama, and that's not the route that we're going. We also then piled into a Suburban in January on MLK Day and drove all the way to Knoxville, Illinois to look at the auditorium that they have, which seats 750 people, but it has back walls that can be opened up and expand out into their commons area and place additional seats for the times when you have 900 or 1,000 people. Most performances don't require 900 or 1,000 seats, even here in Charles City. So this auditorium that you're looking at is an 800 seat on 2 levels auditorium. And again, that back wall is slated to be one that can open up to that commons so that you can accommodate that larger crowd. So now that the image is in front of us, Linda had pointed out some things that I just would like to make note of. She had said that it made her sad because it didn't have spaces for performers to change. And I want to point out that the 5 practice rooms that are immediately on the back side of the stage are practice rooms for music during the day, and they are changing rooms for actors in the evening. That we wouldn't build just specific dressing rooms. We're going to make use of spaces in more than one way. And so there are 5 spaces, or the band and choir room are certainly large areas, one for boys, one for girls, but we've got the ability right behind the stage to do all of that. You'll notice where it says office, so the lowest one of the 5 has on its right-hand side about 5 or 6 white circles. Those are seats at a makeup mirror. Thanks, Justin. And that's a place where you can sit and put on makeup. You also could do that in any of the other larger spaces. So we have a spot for actors to go and do that, and it's away from the public. Below that, you'll see 2 little rooms that have a T on them. That's an individual bathroom. So there are 2 of them, and those will be used by actors so that they're not going to the bathroom or changing in the same place where our public is using the restroom at intermission. Back to the stage side, it's again as wide as the Western Dubuque stage. That's what our drama department wanted. That's what our fine arts department wanted. So it's got ample room off to the left and to the right of the stage for things like the concert piano, for sets, etc. It does not have a fly space. That's something that we're going to hear from our staff in just a moment. And I will share with you that I passed all of that on to our architect. She will develop a cost, and by the March 19th board meeting, we'll have a cost of what it would be if we put in a fly. If we put in the place where that pit is a dotted line, if it was the same as Western Dubuque, which is pretty impressive, I can stand in the pit and still have plenty of headroom above me, and it's got a lot of storage down there, or if it's just going to be more of a sunken in place. But what will that be? Gene will have that fleshed out for us. The storage, as Linda noted, is nothing close to what we have in the North Grand building. And there's no way for us to build all of that storage in. What I've talked with our fine arts staff about is if our intent is to move out of the basement locker rooms, and that's been a conversation at the board table in the 1961 gym, that all of that basement area then could become drama storage because it won't be used as a locker room area, and then we don't have to build it. It's repurposing space that we already have. Larry, we have to leave those open because it's a public meeting.
I'll leave one open.
Yeah.
Sorry, boss.
You're fine. We want people to know they can come in. And the loading dock. You'll notice that it goes right into the fine arts area and then into the stage as well. It's not on that drawing directly into the stage, but it is accessible right there. If that's a change that needs to be made, then we'll have Gene look at making that change. But there is access from the loading dock to the auditorium. So those were just a few things that I wanted to point out before we heard from our fine arts staff. And if Linda has more comments, because she ended up only hitting her 2-minute time last time, and we do have 3 minutes now this time, certainly step to the microphone and make those comments as well. So I'll yield to current and former staff members who would like to comment.
And again, we'll remind you that time will be kept on my phone. When your time is expired, an alarm will sound. If you don't get them all in and you'd like to provide additional comment, feel free to email or submit them. So state your name and start.
My name is Derek Sturdivant. I'm the high school choir director and also a drama director. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Cox for meeting with us. Everything that I'm going to share right now are things that we shared with him in our meeting as far as the full fine arts or drama department staff, including the directors of the high school musical, the high school play, the middle school play, and the speech department. So those are just kind of things we talked about. I'll just go through this briefly because he touched on a lot of this. Some of our priorities of what we'd like to see and kind of what we'd like and what we think we would need to have the best auditorium that we can have was fly space was our #1 priority that we saw. And I'll just let you read your packets as our reasonings behind that and save us some time here. The next thing that was a priority that Dr. Cox also touched on was the orchestra pit and how that actually gets built. If that's sunk in, we'd just like to see what the plan would be for that and how we can best use that for musicals. You'll see on there it says sound and tech room. We had met with Gene as the music staff and talked about that, so I'll skip over that as well. He touched on the storage of the dungeon things, all the costumes and props that are in there. We would really like to see that kept if possible. And one of the things that we put on here was that we'd like to come up with as many flexible options as possible. So if that means the locker rooms, excellent. If that means understage space, a combination of multiple things, we're willing to do whatever we need to do to make it work. Because we're obviously not going to get an old boiler room that works in that same way that we have now. So we get that, and we're very flexible with that. We also wanted to touch on the shop idea because we've heard a lot about that just out in the community and talking about. We do not feel, we've talked a lot about this, that we need a shop area specifically for drama. We'll have a shop area in the high school, and as we did with this last show, the last musical, we worked with Jim Lumberg and his students to build the set, and we want that to be a flexible space. So we can use that for drama, bring in students from the shop classes more into the drama setting. Let them know that the stage is not only for performing, but also for building and constructing and using it in a lot of different multiple ways. I wanted to also touch on auditorium use, current auditorium use. We gathered numbers of how often the auditorium's used throughout the year. Days of actual students in there, staff members in there, on the auditorium stage, there's 184 total days that they're actually on there. For the musical, I did calculations only of the days that we are in there working with students, and that is 235 hours on the stage working just for the one production. That does not include the play, that does not include the middle school play, that does not include concerts. You'll see that that's all spelled out very well there, on there. And that is pretty impressive considering that we have an auditorium that's in a totally different space. It's not even connected. So a connected auditorium, I can imagine, would be used almost double that. I mean, every meeting that you have, every speaker that you have come in, every assembly that you have would be used in that space. So we just want to make sure that it is known that it is very well used space. And I think it serves our school district very, very well to have that. I will move on here. Actually, do you want to take over here? Sure. Okay. There, look at that.
Good timing.
I don't know that I can do that. I'm known for being pretty wordy.
Michelle, before you start, I'll point out that Justin has brought up the auditorium in relationship to where the shop is, just for the people who are here in the audience so that you can see. It's really not that far to get from the shop area to the loading dock and to the stage. And the public will see that when it runs on Channel 4.
It's probably about 3 miles closer than it is right now.
Yes, much closer.
Okay.
Alrighty. My name is Michelle Robb, and I'm a new hire here this year, just came in August. I am the 7 through 12 talented and gifted teacher working with Ann Pritchard, and come to you from southeastern Iowa in Bloomfield, and come from doing talent and gifted there as well as a lot of theater. Started about 15 years ago in theater, and I estimate between community plays and working with middle school, high school, as well as summer 45-plus shows, directing as well as acting in it. And so I'm very thrilled to be here, where we are looking at a brand-new auditorium. Excites me very much of what might be available there. Here again, like Derek, I'm not going to insult you by reading to you because you have those packets to really look at, but I do want to encourage you, when you have time, to look at those 2 letters that were included from alumni, Stephanie Kruger-Scott, 2001, and Jim Kopic from 1994, and the information they give you about what an auditorium meant to them as that they went further in their careers. And also, Stephanie does have a consulting firm, and she is offering her services free of charge for some things, and then also talking with that fly space with some discounted rates to help us maybe budget into that. So please take time at some point to take a look at those and read those statements of support for our auditorium. And then I am going to read one part to you, though, because I think it's important that everybody in the room hear it. And it's on behalf of our entire trauma department, that last paragraph that you see down there. Our auditorium is a tired and trusted friend to those who have been taught and enlightened within its walls. But it is tired, and it is time to build a new gem for our growing fine arts department. We believe that incorporating the ideas we have suggested here tonight will make a statement to our students, our city, and the state of Iowa that Charles City High School is a destination school district for many years and generations to come. And as a new person in your district, I will say, you have many things here that drew me to come and work here. This new building we're standing in here, the plans that were already being talked about in the future. And it was a destination for me and my husband. And we hope that the new auditorium will be part of that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anything additional? Okay. We will move on then to agenda item 9, the 2017-18 cost reduction recommendations. So tonight we will, for the first time, receive the superintendent's recommendations for budget reductions. It's not the intent that we will go line by line and review them tonight, but simply receive them and have them to look at for the next month or so as we continue this process. But what we will do is, if there are any questions or comments on the procedures we'll take with this, we'll go ahead and address those, and I'll give Dr. Cox an opportunity to explain how we move forward with this.
Sure. So we are anticipating $575,000 worth of reductions for 2018-19, and that's due to a combination of declining enrollment and reduced state aid. So the board already has taken action on early retirements. We calculate about $323,460 in savings from that, from the 10 that have been accepted. There's an additional $174,556 that is projected on the budget cuts. They are placed in a priority order, so from 11 to 19, 11 would be the thing that is most suggested, and 19 the least suggested on the backside. But even with the recommended cuts, we are at $498,000 roughly, so still about $77,000 short of the projected total that we will need. One of the items is reducing insurance costs. There is no financial savings in that one right now because we have to go through the negotiations process to figure out where our settlement will be. And although insurance is not part of that negotiations process, where the rate ends up will be part of that process. So that's the one unknown. We will continue to look for other ways to cut. It is 3.92 total positions being reduced. And the process or the timeline would be introduce them tonight, take comment if there is any, take comment on March 19th, take comment again on March 26th, then on the 26th, then the board could choose to take action.
Excellent. Do we have any comments or questions from board members about the how we'll handle this and the procedures we'll go through?
It's the most horrible time of the year.
It absolutely is. Rough calculations, I think this will bring in my 4.5, almost 5 years of time to nearly $1.4 million worth of cuts, which is, I got to say that the highlight of our time was those presentations earlier. These are definitely the lowlights of being on this side of the table.
Yeah.
So, any comments? I will ask if there will be any public comment tonight. I know you're all just seeing them for the first time. Well, like I said, we'll have an opportunity to receive more comment on the 19th and the 26th in March. So,
And the public can view the list at charlescityschools.org, go under district and under Board of Education, scroll down to exhibits, and it's listed there.
seeing
Thank you,
none?
Dr. Cox, too, for your
Yeah.
time that you take in combing through everything to try to find these. I made the comment earlier, at times I'm sure it feels like trying to find a needle in a haystack, because we all know there's none of this that we want to do, but
Right.
but it's necessary.
All right, nothing further. There is no action to be taken on agenda item 10. We'll move to 11, which there is no correspondence and miscellaneous. So agenda item 12 is upcoming important dates.
This Saturday, March 3rd, is the middle school trivia night at Comet Gym. I believe they're still taking teams, so contact Charles City Middle School if you're interested. Fun night. TQ committee next Monday, 3:45 in the middle school conference room. And spring break is coming up March 12th to the 16th. Regular board meeting will be the 19th because of spring break.
Awesome. With that, it's kind of a nice night to have a short board meeting. We will adjourn.
Yeah, go Comets.